We think that a painter's job is to recreate what he sees, right? But he has an additional plus point. He says that he knows about the house he was staying and that the painter will come to his house. He is shocked and wonders who would know about his place of existence. It is a grand house which does not have any garbage. He is the only person in the house. He hears the sound of bells at midnight. It would sound like someone is ringing the bell from beneath the world. The idea would take him to another world. That world would have no time. How would such a world be? You have to read this book to know that. We are repeatedly told that if we live without this chaotic environment and distraction, and if we don't keep running fast, if we stop for a while to reflect on life, we will realize how beautiful life is. But how can we throw away something that we are attached to for a long time, or get rid of a habit to settle in a new environment, if it happens only in dreams? Murakami's books are such fascinating dreams. Time slows down when I read his books. We travel into an alternate reality. Kafka on the Shore already gave me a wow feel when it comes to magical realism. I read his birthday stories after some time. Murakami's flow of words, and his transition from one thought or one moment to another is very smooth. This always fascinates me. I got the same effect through his Killing Commendator. This book came in 2017. The title might not give the feel that I just described. I was talking about relentless admiration. But this book is filled with murders. How does the two mix? We are going to see that in today's video. If you have read Murakami's books but if you haven't read this one, or if you are new to Murakami, or if you have already read this book and you are here to know my thoughts about it, let's look into this book in detail. The protagonist or the hero doesn't have a name. He is a painter. He looks at people and notes down details of their features. He doesn't make them sit down to make a portrait of them. He looks at them and draws a portrait of them. We think that a painter's job is to recreate what he sees, right? But our hero had another plus point. As the hero notes down the picture of a person in the mind's eye, he had a superpower which made him know who the person was. He will try to guess who the person is. Is the person mysterious? Is there anger within? Basically, the hero has the traits of a psychologist. What makes this person different from others? The hero can express it through his painting. An artist like him has a midlife crisis. He is in his 30s. His wife expresses her desire to leave him after being with him for 6 years. He was someone who could figure out who the person was by looking at that person. But he could never figure out when his wife harbored thoughts of separation. This is so typical of anyone in a relationship. We take the relationship for granted, so we will not have any idea regarding how it would pan out. Our hero is clueless. Then his wife confesses that she likes someone else and so she wants to step out. Our hero is shocked. He loved painting. But he painted only portraits because it fetched him money. And he got married. So, he found ways to earn through his painting. And worked mechanically. He could have been a different artist. But he chose portrait painting to support his wife. But now even that is ruined. So, he decided not to paint for money. He started painting images that he wanted to. He had no further commitments. So he chooses to leave the house and asks the wife to stay back. He says that he will leave the same night, and he does leave along with his things. He takes his things and goes for a long drive in his old car. He doesn't know where to go, but his friend calls him while he is driving and tells that his father lived in a house on the top of a mountain. There was no one to look after the house, so the friend asks the hero whether he can look after the house. The friend's dad was also an artist. He was the best artist in Japan during his time. The friend's dad had actually painted majority of his paintings in that house. Now it's an empty house on top of the hill. There was no disturbance at all. So, the hero agrees to stay in that house as he also wants to evolve as a painter. The house belonged to one such evolved artist. The friend's father is in the hospital with no memory of his past. When the friend asks our hero to stay in the house, he agrees to stay and explains the separation from his wife. And he goes to the house. There was a huge gap between one house and the other. Almost like a huge valley. It was a place where even the tiniest change in the environment and climate due to the change in season was very much visible. While he was in the city, he didn't even notice the change in season that much. But on the top of the mountain, the start and the end of the season was very much visible to our hero. So, he believed that this was the best place was an artist and got his canvas ready to draw. But he was not able to draw at all. Something keeps stopping him. Our protagonist believed that he was a great artist and he had just chosen to paint for passion instead of painting for money. But nothing strikes his mind and he is blank. His agent calls him and tells him that there is a weird request which would fetch him good money. The portrait of the person who requested had to be drawn and he is willing to pay any amount of money. The hero insists that he doesn't want to deviate from his decision. But the fact is that he is unable to draw. So, he decides to take up the offer. The person whose portrait is to be painted volunteers to come to the protagonist's house. Our hero is shocked. But finally he gets to meet that mysterious person. He is a very rich person. His only wish was to get his portrait painted by this particular artist. Our hero doesn't even have to draw in his usual way. He could look at him and draw instead. The protagonist is given all the freedom. There is no restriction just because he is drawing for money. He could draw the person as he wanted using his creativity. The person offers to give the money and offers to sit so that he could be painted. Our hero wonders who that mysterious person is and why he needs the portrait. Thus begins a journey. Finding the identity of his subject is one of the wishes of our hero. This rich person has a telescope in his home. It is a large house. There is no garbage or dirt and that rich guy is the only person in the house. Once in a while, someone comes to clean but the rich man lives all alone. There is a telescope on his balcony. Very similar to Great Gatsby. The rich man observes a house from his balcony. Why is he looking at a house? And he also asks for the portrait of a particular girl in that house. He hears the sound of bells at midnight. It would sound like someone is ringing the bell from beneath the world. He starts researching about that bell. Then the hero and the rich man locate the bell together. They get hold of the bell. This leads to a deviation in the plot. The events thus far were close to reality. But from this point, there is magic quotient in the story. What if idea is a life form? So, an idea comes to life and comes to the home of the hero. The father of the hero's friend would have hidden a painting. The hero opens that magnificent painting. The discovery of that painting could become a sensation. But the hero hides this even from the painter's son. If a painter had hidden his best work in a place, there must be a reason behind that. So, the hero takes efforts to know about the painting. The artist who is in the hospital doesn't remember anything. So, the hero can't ask why this painting was drawn. The idea also helps in solving this mystery. The idea takes the form of one of the characters in the painting and visits our hero. The idea is very small in size. Murakami has visualized something very beautifully. How do we visualize the visit by an idea? The idea takes our hero to different worlds. That world has no time. As the hero opens the painting, a new world opens through the idea. The hero's main aim is to close the world that he has opened. To save the girl who was seen by the rich guy. Who is the rich guy? What is his goal? Why was he looking at the little girl? The little girl had intelligence beyond her age. The book kindles our interest in drawing. We get the desire to travel to a place without phone or internet. This book also contains Murakami's playlist. I used to read listening to the song mentioned, visualizing the ambience of the characters. It had such a magical effect. Many Murakami fans felt that this is different from his other books. But I could still feel Murakami's flow. Murakami's books sometimes has nudity which is difficult for us to grasp. It is the same with this book. So, it is not advisable for readers below 18. But it's up to the reader. The girl has a constant problem. That her boobs aren't growing. There is another book which talks a lot about breasts. I am not sure whether there is a special reason for obsession over breasts in Japan. If that is the case, people over there can relate better. Apart from them, it would be difficult for the others to relate to the obsession over breasts. She talks about the growth of breasts and converses about it with the painter. It gives us a weird feeling. The book itself gave me a different feel. If you want to experience a different world without spending money, then you can invest on this book. The book is almost 700 plus pages and took most of my time. To get into a different world and to experience it, a lot of time is needed. It is a page turner which does not move fast. The world slows down all of a sudden. And I was disturbed for a while. This is my experience of reading this book. You can buy and read this book by clicking the link in the description.